Hi, my name is Olly, and welcome to the Hardwood Journals. Today I'm going to be talking about beech and how to identify it as a wood. So most of us will recognise beech as we're walking through country parks or out walking the dog. Its bark is very smooth, even as it gets larger, and it's kind of metallic grey metal. And its leaves are nice and round and green, and obviously also has the beech nuts as well. But once you cut it into slabs and into shelving or such like that, how do you recognise it? So behind me here, I've got a selection of beech boards to kind of go through a few of the figure and features in beech and make it recognisable. So here we have a beech board. Now in its raw form, so this is not treated, this has only been sanded, the colouring of beech is this red kind of pinkish brown colour. There's not much diction between a heartwood and sapwood, so ignore the edges at the moment. We'll come to that later. Now the sapwood of a tree is this outer layer which holds more the sugars and starches that's in the tree. The heartwood of the tree is obviously the centre of the tree. When it comes to the growth rings, there's not a lot of colour change between the spring and summer. The summer, slightly slower growth, so often quite smaller and darker, as you can see here, compared to the spring growth where it's got that shoot of growth, where it's slightly lighter in colour, as you can also see on this board as well. But in the heart of the wood, you will see this flaming that comes through, and that gives a really nice figure to the board as well. The flaming is quite hard to see often. You get some trees where it's really noticeable and other trees not so much. On this piece here, it's slightly more noticeable. You see within the rings, you have this darker colouring come through. Patterns that are morphing through the summer and winter growth, all the rings. Quite often when you cut a tree, from the butt of it, this board's upside down, will have this effect almost like it's on fire, of these dark orange, reds coming through, that's flaming through the heart of the wood. It's really, really nice, beautiful. But to the edges of this board in particular, you've got this really white colouring come through. So this is spalting. 9 times out of 10, when you have a bit of spalted wood that a carpenters use or a bolt turner, it's going to be beech. Beech is very recognisable for the spalting. Spalting is a infection of fungus, basically eating those starches and sugars talked about earlier in the sapwood, causing this pattern. In fact, these black lines you see throughout the spalting is actually a barrier that the fungus puts up to kind of fence off its own area that it's feeding on. Right now on this board, it's very subtle, still very durable and strong, but it can get to a point if you leave it for too long as a log form. It spalts all the way through the wood and makes it really soft and quite brittle. But again, beech very recognisable for that, for having the spalting of black lines, big wide areas, and in some cases I've even seen this kind of bright orange come through as well. Beech often has a stigma of being a very dull wood, as you can see, kind of, yeah. But there are some amazing features and figures that you can find in some beech, not only in cases of knots, which can be a bit of a nightmare. In some cases, you can get some kind of rippling come through. This has come through a large branch had grown on this tree, and over time slowly sunk and pushed the grain here together, causing this ripple effect, which is just beautiful. I absolutely love this piece. Hopefully it shows off nicely. And there's also the medullary rays you get through beech. Beech isn't well known for medullary rays, but I think it is just stunning, as you can see in this piece here. Now you might say, some carpenters out there, this looks a lot like lacewood. But if you cut it right with beech, so quarter sawn, you can really catch these medullary rays that just come out absolutely lovely. There's a light catches them going from dark flecks to, in some cases, the light catches it nice white light colour. There's one key feature with beech timber that makes it very easy to recognise, and that is to do with its medullary rays. As medullaries are so small, as you go from the heartwood to the outer of the wood, you often won't catch them shining, but actually they'll come out of these tiny brown specks. If you look closely at any beech board, you'll see these brown flecks running through it, in between the growth rings, in between the figure, all through the timber. And that is unmistakable in beech timber. Even on the edge of the wood, or the live edge of it, you will see these tiny lumps, freckles. Again, these medullary rays are those tiny brown specks you'll get in beech. Beech being found all around us in our modern day lives, it is used in bulk because it is plentiful, fairly cheap, smooth, and most importantly, stable. One stride clarity. Even the old carpenters' wooden planes were made out of beech because it was so stable and durable. We use it a lot for our tabletops down at the steading. In fact, this piece behind me right now is going to go down to the boardroom tomorrow. Because it's not got any cross grain, unlike other woods, it's very easy to work as well. Very rarely you'll get any chipping or tear out through planers, and will sand very smooth and nice, and will take to pretty much any finish beautifully. We use a lot of it down the shop for coffee tabletops or tabletops for that reason. In your house, if you have a wooden spoon in the kitchen, that would be made out of beech. Many children's toys, many chairs, legs even. The bodgers in the woods used to turn beech non-stop many years ago to make chair legs. It is an amazing wood. I feel it's really unappreciated in the modern day for how much we use it. But it is absolutely lovely. So if you want to see some or get a slab for yourself, head down to the Logie Timber shop. Well, I really hope that you enjoyed this week's entry to the Hardwood Journals. I hope you join me again for the next species on how to identify it. Thank you.